Hello, welcome to the Richly or Poorly Show. My name is Dr. Stephen Dawson, and I'm your show host. Thank you for joining me. Please visit shdawson.com/podcast and click on the link Offer to learn about the Richly or Poorly Show. I invite you to visit the podcast webpage. Scroll down to the bottom of this webpage to receive the transcript of each show episode. The transcripts await you, so you can copy either any or all of them to your device so you can have them with you to help you live your life more richly. Please visit shdawson.com/subscribe to join my optional email list to receive time-sensitive news on the Richly or Poorly Show, my public speaking activities, and anything else that is suitable for me to send to you. Please listen to, follow, and like the show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen. And please remember to leave the show a nice review. Please share the show with your friends. Send them the link to my podcast webpage and offer to help them set up their device to subscribe to the show. Thank you to the 6 streaming services that syndicate the Richly or Poorly Show. Thank you to the anonymous, individual, and contributor sponsors of the Richly or Poorly Show. I'm still looking for my first commercial sponsor. Finally, please continue to email your questions and comments about the show to service@shdawson.com. The show's motto is unmistakable: Richly is goodly. Please consider how you define the term good as we journey through life together in your pursuit of defining the term richly in your life. Last week, I presented on the topic of communication. I aligned this topic with the 7-part purchase process for establishing multiple teams in the listeners' lives to help them have the ability to multiply their efforts to live their life more richly and less poorly through their teams. I provided listeners with the definition of communication, sold them a bit on the strengths and weaknesses of communication, and prepared them for what is coming next and how I can help them live their lives more richly. Today, I will present on communication from the position of the second part of the 7-part purchase process, determine trust, using the scenario where you must purchase from a supplier that you are struggling to trust. The reasons for not trusting them as of now could be that they are behaving as a bully, they do not have the intelligence to be able to deliver what you want to purchase from them, or they are being forced to do what they do not want to do by another person, resulting in you being unable to trust them. Reasons for these specific conditions could be an environment where conditions are difficult, such as a war zone, a culture where discrimination is prevalent, or there is a violation of a law occurring that has not had any charges of violating a law put to anyone as of yet. Let's take these 3 reasons one at a time to see how they look. Consider some options of what you could do to improve the situation, all while using wisdom for the purpose of acquiring more of the truth. I presented on May 26, 2026, the second principle I have found is paramount, undeniable, and non-negotiable to living life more richly. Purpose defines process. You have decided you need your specific supplier, but you do not want to buy from them because you are struggling to trust them. The best case scenario is to both need and want a supplier. Your want in this trust struggle must reside where all wants best reside, secondary to needs. I presented on March 3rd, 2026, that wisdom is the truth. Wisdom tells us that the truth is absolute. How can you arrive at trust when you are convinced today that you do not have the necessary trust in a supplier? The answer is by using wisdom. Now, let's take each of the 3 reasons separately. Bullies. All bullies operate in absolute arrogance. I presented on January 20th, 2026, the first aspect of the truth. Arrogance precedes anger, and anger precedes violence. All bullies love to be seen. They have their followers who are convinced it is better to support both the bully and their behavior than to be bullied by the bully. The follower is operating in fear. I presented on March 24th, 2026, the definition of fear. False evidence appearing real. FEAR. So all bullies use fear as their power. You do not trust the bully because they are forcing fear on you. The resolution to this problem is simple. Eliminate the fear. You do this by applying fear to the bully. All bullies live in a mental state where they must live in their definition of a perfect world. Your intent here is to eliminate the attribute of perfection from their world by applying pressure to their world. There is always an option to apply pressure. I'm not either saying or suggesting to perform any form of evil or to violate a law. I am saying pain is a wonderful motivator for change. The pressure you apply to the life of the bully is an opportunity for the bully to change their behavior for the better, where they are able to gain more business from selling to people who are able to trust them. Here's the process. First, do not respond to a bully with their followers present. Your response occurs in two parts. The first part is something that occurs to the bully privately. They are the only ones who are aware of the pain you bring to their life. This awareness brings them into a state of surprise. You have placed them in a state of imbalance. The second response is something that occurs to the bully publicly. Both they and many in the public are aware of the pain you bring to their life. This awareness brings them into a state of embarrassment, perhaps to the point of humiliation. You do not take responsibility for either response. You do not lie, but you avoid being questioned about the events. If you are faced with a direct question of responsibility, you respond with a question. Why would I care at all about your welfare, your problems, or your future to answer any questions from you, to do anything for you, to do anything to help you, when you do not care about me by you not being trustworthy? The bully is then placed in a disadvantaged position by suffering two events that they do not like. They are wondering if you had anything to do with either event. Their thinking and actions are divided from being a bully to you to protecting their welfare. You are now in a position to speak with them more objectively about your ability to trust them as your supplier. If you are unable to reach a point of trust with this supplier, then revisit the first part of the 7-part purchase process. Determine duration. If all you need from them can be reduced, then perhaps the rest of what you need can be obtained from another supplier. Then, the bully can decide whether the impact of the partial loss of your business with them is something they want to experience. Low intelligence. All intelligence deficiencies can be treated through education. An impairment is not an absence of intelligence. A handicap is not an absence of intelligence. Each of these three possibilities leads to the same result: the inability to trust your supplier. Wisdom tells us to determine which of the three possibilities the specific supplier in question is experiencing. If there is a need for more education, then speaking with the supplier could well be the way to inform them and resolve the education deficiency problem. If it is an impairment, then helping the supplier become unimpaired will resolve the impairment problem. If it is a handicap, then changing the messaging you are sending them could well be the way for them to understand what it is you are trying to buy from them. If changing the messaging is the answer to resolving the trust problem, then you arguably have the first option of needing more education. All of these possibilities are resolved by further messaging to arrive at the condition known as communication. I addressed the mechanics of communication in the episode last week. External pressure. All external pressure occurs against the preferences of the person being pressured. Wisdom tells us that eliminating the external pressure will result in the person doing whatever it is you are asking them to do, while they blame external pressure for the reason they cannot do whatever it is you are asking them to do. The good news is that this problem is solvable. The way to solve the problem is to speak with the source of the external pressure. You will find the external pressure is either a bully or has low intelligence. The means to solve the problem is to follow the steps I have already outlined for these two possibilities. However, there is no need to go and speak with the source of the external pressure without first gaining the clear commitment from the supplier you are struggling to trust that they will do whatever it is that you want them to do once the external pressure is eliminated. Now, we already know that the possibility of arriving at 100% trust in anyone is not likely. We also already know that you need to buy from this supplier whom you are struggling to trust. How about the trustworthiness of the buyer, being you? The seller has been informed by you, as the buyer, that you do not trust them enough to buy from them. You inform them of this condition using either direct or indirect messaging. They hold the shared understanding with you that you do not trust them enough to buy from them. This realization opens another problem: the repercussions of not being trustworthy. You declared the seller is untrustworthy. This condition could be a first for them, or a condition that has gone on for quite some time. Regardless, you are the one who has the problem with them at this point in time. You bringing up the untrustworthy condition requires that you either settle this trustworthy matter and tell them you trust them, or leave it that you do not trust them and do not buy from anyone. Remember, we are working on the premise that you need to buy from them. So what do? I suggest you tell them you need to buy from them, you do not trust them, and that you want to trust them. So we went from need to want in this logic flow. This message alone will empower the seller to tell you clearly what they can do to gain your trust. You then decide if their offer to gain your trust is something you can do with them. Otherwise, your need to purchase from them cannot occur. Your only option is to not proceed with your project, as you have an insurmountable barrier preventing you from advancing. So what do you do now? Do you violate your worldview and perform an act of violence against them? I hope not. Can you take this matter to the law for them to help you? Perhaps. Can you have a third party come and apply pressure to the seller that you cannot trust? I hope not, as this is bringing a bully to act for you. The only thing you can do is return to wisdom and ask why you cannot proceed. You will find that the truth will tell you why you cannot proceed. Perhaps you are not ready to proceed. Perhaps you did not spend enough time forming your plan, selecting your team members, or even justifying why you need to do the project in the first place. I suggest you use this insurmountable barrier as an asset and not a liability. Why? The same reason I provided last week. A hint. It's about money. The premise of the Richly or Poorly show is to live life more richly. Each listener is asked at the beginning of the show to please consider how they define the term good as we journey through life together in their pursuit of defining the term richly in their life. This premise and request combination operates on the belief that richly is goodly. The pursuit of realizing how goodly life can be by living life more richly is experienced with each step we take in life. You are now at an insurmountable obstacle, not being able to trust a supplier that has whatever it is you need to purchase. You are asking wisdom to help you get past this insurmountable obstacle. Do you quit on living life more richly? The only option is to abandon wisdom and to embrace foolishness. I doubt you want to embrace foolishness. I hold this position as you are listening to the Richly or Poorly show with the intent to live your life more richly. So here's my suggestion. First, decide now if wisdom leads you to the truth. Second, take a moment and be thankful for all that wisdom has helped you do in the past. Third, ask wisdom to tell you how to get past this insurmountable obstacle. You have the assurance that either one of two things will happen. Either you will find the need to buy from the specific supplier is not real, or you will gain the trust you need to buy from the specific supplier. How do I know this is the truth? Simple. Wisdom always leads to the truth. And the truth is, embracing foolishness brings nothing but trouble that leads to death. Does your worldview hold a position that wisdom cannot help you in the scenario we have covered today? If so, then wisdom is nothing much at all that deserves our attention. If not, then ask wisdom to tell you how to get past this insurmountable obstacle. I am certain, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that wisdom will help you by telling you what to do next. This is my confidence in wisdom. This is part of my worldview, my ethics, and my morality. How about you? Well, that's it for today. Richly is goodly. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Richly or Poorly show. I have enjoyed presenting to you today. Until the next episode, I hope you will be safe and join me next week. Until then.